Welcome, everybody, to Snow Search, where meteorologist Sean Sublette at the Richmond Times Dispatch and me, meteorologist Joe Martucci at the Press of Atlantic State, search for snow. Sean, it snowed last week.
It did. It barely snowed last week. It barely counts as snow. And it's funny, some people say, well, this finally counts. We finally got something. And a lot of people were like, this didn't count at all. This was just, it snowed for an hour and a half or 2 hours. It was gone 2 hours after it came. So there's still a lot of people wanting some snow in the middle Atlantic, Northeast, and the Southeast.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's turn the clock back. Let's see what kind of snow we did get. This was from Colleen Curran in Bon Air, Virginia. Nice little coating over there. And then, Sean, you took this photo too.
Yeah, I took this other one. Colleen works for us here at the Richmond Times Dispatch. She does a lot of our features. And I just grabbed this one on the morning of Groundhog Day, went outside into the front yard and just put the camera right there on the ground. Just you can see there's just enough snow to kind of dust and coat things for a while. But, that was at about 8:30 in the morning. And by noon, everything had melted away. So there just wasn't much to this at all.
No, in fact, so for me in Jersey, we saw our snow on February 1st. We did squeak out an inch near Cape May, Sean. So, I mean, we'll take it. Down by you in Virginia, you also had an inch. I'm not going to say that name, though.
So most of that's around metropolitan Richmond on the east side of town where the official observations are. It was only a trace. But you go to the western suburbs where I am in Midlothian, then northward to Ashland, west into Powhatan County. That's about 25 miles west of Richmond. They did about an inch, but that was the highest end there was. So a lot of people still wanting some snow for sure.
Here's my thought on this, though, Sean, and I want to know if you agree with me on this. So, like at Atlantic City International Airport, if we went till February 16th without a flake of snow, we would have had the record. So we don't have the record now because we got like 0.2 inches. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I almost rather it just not snow and just get the record at this point, or get a big snow. You feel the same way?
Yeah. I want a good 2 or 3 inches worth of snow for it to matter, but just not there yet. It's just not there yet, man.
Keywords, I guess yet, because we look at our upper level pattern for next week, and so on the 12th. We have a departing storm system. It's going to bring all rain to us, the 11th or so. And then what happens as we go into Valentine's Day and the 14th, we get a ridge of high pressure. What that actually really means is the atmosphere is expanding. The thicker the atmosphere is, the more heat it can hold. So when you see a ridge of high pressure, it means that we're going to be quite warm. And that high pressure pretty much just sits just off the North Carolina coast. That means southwesterly winds. That does not mean snow for us, Sean, unfortunately. And, we go from the 15th into the 16th. And what's going to happen is in the west, they have this trough area of low pressure. They're going to snow out in the west. Eventually, it'll come our way, but it's going to get deflected north. So we're just going to continue to get the warm air with some rain as we go into the following weekend. So not Super Bowl weekend, the weekend after that. So the West and the plains have gotten their share of cold and snow and ice. But for us, Sean, it's just the same story here. It's almost like the movie Groundhog Day.
Almost, man. Almost for sure. Just I'm looking at 3, maybe 4 systems going through the next couple of weeks. But when we look at it in Virginia, and especially for western or eastern Pennsylvania and into New Jersey, from Carlisle to the Jersey Shore, with the storm systems going by to the west, that keeps us in that southwest wind, and that's why it just does not get cold enough to snow. And you see that in a lot of the indices too, whether it's the Arctic Oscillation or whichever ones we have. Take us through those real quick, Joe.
Yeah, so we got the 3 that we always talk about, the big 3, the North Atlantic Oscillation. When it's positive, and that's where we're going to be, just less likely for East Coast cold and snow. There's nothing really to block snowstorms. And what I mean by that is sometimes you get a high pressure in Atlantic Canada or like Newfoundland, Eastern Canada. And what will happen is that will slow down a low pressure system that's moving up the coast. So not only is it longer lasting, but that high pressure, because it spins clockwise, can bring a northeasterly wind or a northerly wind, cold air into the region. And when you get that cold and you get the storm, you get your snow. When your North Atlantic Oscillation is positive, That's not happening. You don't have anything that's slowing down those storms. You don't have anything that's really feeding in cold air. And you go to the Arctic Oscillation and you see kind of the same story. In fact, we're even more positive there. So any storms that come by, usually in an Arctic Oscillation that's positive, usually means it's a progressive pattern. That means that these storms are going to be fairly weak and fairly fast moving as they move through the east. And then we have the PNA, the Pacific North American Index. It's going to be neutral. Essentially equal chances for eastern U.S. cold. When that PNA is positive, that's when you have the better chances of it being cold here. But it's even slightly negative. At least most of these members here. You look at that dashed black line and those red lines. Most of them are on the negative side here. So, like we said, not really much to talk about when it comes to snow for this week. We're very confident we won't see a flake of snow from North Carolina on up into PA and Jersey. Just take us through our temperature outlook for next week, Sean, from the Climate Prediction Center.
I mean, it's not there at all, right? So this is from our colleagues at the Climate Prediction Center, and we're looking at what's intuitive here. The oranges mean warm, the blues mean cold. So when you have those deeper colors, that's where there's much higher confidence the temperatures will be above normal. And the darker blue is much higher confidence the temperatures below normal. Not this week, but the following week for the 14th through the 20th. So basically east of the Mississippi River next week, very good odds, very high confidence that things are going to be warmer than normal. Still might be a colder day here or there, but when you average those 6-7 days out, it is going to be warmer than normal. And that goes back to a lot of those oscillations you talked about. So it is just going to be a stretch for at least a couple of weeks where we really don't get a bunch of anything in terms of snow. So take us through how the week is going to play out in the wrap there, Joe.
Yeah, it's very little consistent cold. These systems are bringing rain when they come through. We're still going to have to wait for snow. We really have to look to our north to see that snow. That's why we have that arrow pointing there. It's staying away from us. This is not our week. In fact, I think out of all the weeks we've done snow search, I think this is our most confident that we're going to see nothing. And don't get me wrong, most of the winter we've been pretty confident we're going to see not much. But this one's probably our most confident here, Sean. But on the plus side, hey, I mean, down in Virginia, Carolinas, how about some 60s next week? That's nice.
Oh, 60s this week even. I mean, yeah.
Oh, look at that.
It's nice for the heat. Look, it's good for the heating bills. I'm not gonna lie to you. But one of the things we want to remind people is that a lot of times, it's winter's over. We're not going to get any snow. There are on occasions where the pattern flips in a big way into March. As recently as 2018, March was colder than February. Not regarding averages, but it was physically colder than February. And there's a lot of underground buzz that we could see a colder than normal March. So these things kind of sneak in. And one of the things that I was reminded of when we're talking about things we're looking for, Joe, I had forgotten until I was doing a little research today that next month will be the 30th anniversary of what my generation likes to call the storm of the century, or Superstorm 1993, which put down snow from Mississippi to Maine.
Yeah.
That was the end of the second week in March. So there is still time.
Yes. Yeah. There's absolutely still time. I remember 2018 too, because we had we called it the 4 Easter. We had 4 nor'easters in a row in the month of March. And we got snow, I think, from 3 of them, at least here at the Jersey Shore. But a lot of coastal flooding, too, so that was bad. All right, so let's talk about the one thing we are searching for, whether or otherwise. Sean, I want to be a good company man, and I'm going to say I'm searching for a snow day. Because we have our Across the Sky podcast on the best way to get snow days. We have not seen any school snow days. I don't even know in any of our areas if we've seen a snow day, at least in Jersey and I think most of Virginia, right? No snow days for you guys.
The struggle is real, my man.
The struggle is real. Yeah, so in our podcast, we do 6 different kind of snow days matchups. Sean, me, along with Kirsten Lang and Matt Holland are part of our weather family. We kind of have a little debate over which one's better. Early dismissal, the late opening. Friday snow day, Monday snow day. It was really a lot of fun to do, Sean. And you and me, while we are brothers in our snow search and in our Lee Enterprises weather family, they say brothers fight. And that was us during our...
This is the most we've ever disagreed about anything ever.
Yes.
But I was actually talking, Matt Hollander and I, our guy in Chicago, he's the one that was agreeing with me the most. But yeah, Across the Sky, get that on wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google. It's all there. Just search Across the Sky. Look for the four of us there in the lightning and the clouds and take a listen. We hope you like it.
Yeah, we hope you guys like it. We do them every Monday too. So when Snow Shirts comes out, Across the Sky comes out that night as well. But we're going to say goodbye for now. We will be back with you next Monday. We're going to try to see if we can get something for the following week here. But for Sean Sublette, I'm Joe Martucci. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching Snow Surge.